Welcome to the Justin Root Show, Episode 3, the Jody Hamilton interview. Now, Jody is the daughter of the late Emmy-winning producer Joe Hamilton, and her mother happens to be the daughter of this podcast's very first guest, Carol Burnett. She's also the producer of the political and pop culture radio show called The Stephanie Miller Show. Jody, she sits in for Stephanie every now and then, and she happened to be doing so yesterday, Monday, June 24th, and she asked me to be a guest. I did. I went on. It was an absolute blast. You can see it or listen to it on the Stephanie Miller Show website. It was actually my very first live radio show. I probably would have been nervous had I not met Jody and already had the interview that you were about to hear. I've also been following her on Twitter for years. She's very outspoken and so much fun, but I didn't meet her until her mother's 90th birthday party, which aired on NBC. And in case you haven't listened to the first 2 episodes of this podcast, I made a documentary on Carol Burnett, put it on YouTube, and the next thing I know, Jody reaches out to me, and I'm sitting next to her at her mother's 90th birthday party. That was my first time meeting her, and I've been lucky enough to hang out with her a few times since. I just adore her. She is fantastic. Now, when Carol Burnett married Joe Hamilton, he already had 8 children. He then had 3 girls with his new wife, Carol. Carrie Hamilton, she was born in 1963, and sadly, she died of cancer in 2002. Jody, she was born in 1967, and the following year, her sister Erin was born. So while Carol only had 3 girls herself, Jody, she grew up with 10 siblings and grew up here in LA as well as in Hawaii, and she's followed her father's footsteps, becoming a successful producer. I had so many fun things to talk about with her, but unfortunately, this show is, I'm learning as I go. That's the best way that I can put it, and I made a terrible error. I don't even know what happened, but after this interview was over, I realized that only one of our podcast mics were working properly. So, unfortunately, I have to use audio from the cameras. Hopefully, you will forget about it once you start listening, but just know in the future, you will get that great podcast mic sound. So my apologies to you, the listener, and to Jody, who deserves a much more professional sounding interview. But you can check this interview out on YouTube if you want to see us talking. Also, I have other visuals up there as well. But Jody came over on April 27th, the day after her mom's 91st birthday, and the day after Jimmy Kimmel surprised Carol with a birthday message from Bradley Cooper. Here is my interview with Jody Hamilton. Welcome to the Justin Root Show. I could not think of a better follow-up guest to this show than someone who is responsible for helping me get her mother on. Please welcome a producer, a actress, a wife, a kitty mother, and so many other hats. Jody Hamilton, I am beyond honored to have you here.
Oh, honey, it's so nice to be here. I'm so glad I know you. Thank you, Jen Kirkman.
Oh, exactly. I was going to say, we have a lot of different connections. And honestly, it's been a year since your mom's birthday. Her birthday was actually yesterday, 91. I saw the Bradley Cooper.
That was so sweet, wasn't it?
Video.
Wasn't that sweet?
I mean, something has to happen, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That.
Yeah. If your birthday, January 18th.
Yes, thank you.
If it was your birthday and I was surprising you with a video, don't worry, I have no connections to anyone, but if I surprised you with a video, who would it be? Who's a celebrity crush, or maybe not even a crush, but just, someone that would...
Okay, well, I already got to meet Roger Daltrey when I was 16 actually. No, I talked to him on the phone when I was 15, and I've known him ever since. He did a film with a friend of mine years ago, before I met my friend, and I got him and Roger was in the film with him. His name is Chesney Hawkes. Chesney was coming into town from England, and Roger was playing at the Orpheum, and I was going to go see Raj, and I said, Ches, you should come with me. because you haven't seen Roger in years. And so Ches went and they rehooked up. So that was kind of cool that I got them back together. There's an anniversary of the movie, so hopefully Roger's going to go to that. I saw Ches the other day, and he's like, "Will you email Roger and see if he'll go?" I said, "Sure. I'll see what I can do."
Well, you know, I met you at your mom's birthday party, and I have to say, also you tweeted me first, and I thought one of two things. She's messaging me. Well, you said my mom saw your videos. Please DM me, and I was like, does she want to send us cease and a restraining order? Or
no, a lawyer would have done that. It wouldn't have been me.
But I was looking through your tweets, and this goes, and I'll always call it Twitter, by the way. But this goes along with the tweets and how you were at the birthday party. What struck me so much is what a fan you seem of your mom and the industry and her work in an industry where, you know, that's not always, you know, mommy dearest and, you know, stuff like that. But you had this like excitement. And when I found out I was sitting with you at that table, it just was so refreshing and endearing to see how you and your wonderful husband, Lonnie, were. You were about as excited as I was. It felt that way. And if you weren't, you're the greatest actress in your family.
Well, no, I mean, that was it. First off, that was an excellent special that they did. It was really, really, really well done.
Impeccably done.
It was really well done. What I was excited about was seeing Aileen again, and I hadn't seen her since Annie, you know, and I beelined it to her as soon as the show was over. I got to go see. It's like all these really other famous, super famous people. I'm like, "Hi, Laura, I'll be right there." You know, it's, you know, so it was really nice to see Aileen. It was so sweet to see her. And she was like, "Jody, hi!" You know, and then I did get to see Laura Dern, who I did go to high school with for a year. And I just, I've been watching Paul Royale, and Mindy Cohn also went to Buckley. And I was like, I wish I'd known Mindy was on the show, because I would have wanted to say hi to her, because I haven't seen her in forever. I'm hoping that she'll be at the reunion this year, because it's our 40th. So I'm hoping she'll be there, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, I told all my family and my friends, I said, there's, you know, 3 people I want to meet. And they were you, your Aunt Chrissy, and your mom.
And Chrissy was like, why is he freaking out about me? Nobody does that. She's like, is he okay? I said, he's fine.
He's not. He's not okay. He's not okay. He's actually not. Well, I mean, honestly, speaking of your sister, your aunt, you know, as you very well know, One More Time just absolutely changed my life. And these, it's just crazy because these are your family members, but to me, they're characters in a book that started as a letter to you and your 2 sisters. But you were 19 when that came out, right?
It was 86, yeah.
Yeah, so are you doing the, Mom, God, it's so embarrassing, stop, or this is an honor, this is...
Oh, I love the book.
Yeah.
I think it's beautifully written. And we knew a lot of the stories, but not all of them. You know, I met Malcolm.
You met Malcolm?
I met Malcolm.
I'm gonna cry.
When I went to college, I lived in Stockton. I went to the University of the Pacific. And Malcolm taught in Stockton at a high school. And Mom found out where he was, or he emailed. He wrote Mom a letter, because this was the 80s, children. He's like, I'd love to meet your daughter. And so he had me come. I was probably, it was right after the book came out. I was 19 or 20 years old. And I went to his school, and he had me talk to his students. And he was lovely. I think he passed away, but he was really sweet. And it was just like, you're Malcolm. Oh my God, I've heard about you my whole life, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah.
He was a kick in the pants, that one.
Did you have a nostalgia for family history? I was a weird kid. Like, I couldn't get enough of my family history. If my parents or grandparents had anything, I was just like, tell me everything, whereas siblings, cousins couldn't care less.
I'm pretty much the keeper of all of that.
Oh.
Like my mom kind of is. I have, in fact, Lonnie, I can show you later, we have these pictures of F.C. Jones, the feed store that he had, that are super faded that my mom gave me, and Lonnie took an iPhone shot of them and got them really, like, you can see the people now. And so I've got to get those printed and framed for my mom, because you can actually see these men standing there, and one of them is my great-great-grandfather. So, that is F.C. Jones, was Nanny's dad, so.
I mean, you know I need to see those, but
oh, yeah.
down the road one day.
They're on my phone.
Do you have any desire to write a book, or would you write your story ever?
I've thought about it, but I'm not a good writer.
Really?
I would need somebody to help me.
Well, it's funny. I know someone. Her name is Carol, and she told me in this interview that we did, she said she started by writing a letter, and that's how she tells everyone, just write a letter. You can do that, right? So, I don't know. That's my advice to you. Maybe write a letter.
I mean, I did well in my creative writing courses, but again, with my new job and with everything, it's like, I barely have time to wake up and walk 10 miles a day, so.
Yeah. Which you do.
I try now. During the week, on Mondays through Fridays, I really can only get about 5 miles walked a day.
I'm just gonna tell this just because it's amazing, but when you reply to me in the email, you're like, yeah, I can be over. I'm gonna do 10 miles on my stationary bike and then 10 miles walking, but I'll be there. I thought, okay, I'm gonna wake up and have some coffee, so whenever you can come over, you can come over.
I know, I put on makeup and everything.
I did not. Take away the fact that, you were Carol Burnett's daughter. I could have you on this show just on the fact that you were born and raised in LA. I love it. The good, the bad. I trust me, I recognize all the negativity that comes with it, but I love it. I'm in love with it. How come you're here and you haven't fled or taken off? I know you've lived you moved in Hawaii, right? Well, let's okay, you were born in Beverly Hills, right?
No, born in Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, that's right, because Vicki Lawrence came to the hospital, right?
I think. I don't know.
You don't remember? Come on! Vicki Lawrence is in the hospital, you're a day old and you don't remember?
I don't recall. I don't.
So then you ended up in the house that I featured in the story location tour, the house that was featured on the cover of People magazine. Your mom bought Betty Grable's old house when she was so nice enough to talk about. It's gone, right?
It's still there as far as I know.
The house is?
I think so.
So when you're on that Doheny and there's that big fence, it's just way back?
No. It should be 612 Doheny, I think is the address now.
612?
They changed the address when we moved. And a director bought the house from my parents, and I know his son now.
Wait a minute, my mind is blown. I featured the wrong house?
It's a big brick home.
And it's still there.
As far as I know, Lonnie, whenever his family comes by, he takes them over there. But they did tear down the guest house that was in the back. The Prices did. They tore down the guest house that my brothers lived in, which was so cool. And then they built a thing over the garages, another like a granny pad, basically, for I think it was Mr. Price's mother. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, I'll take you over.
I love it.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because the Prices bought the house from my family, from my parents, and then I think I've known David now 18 years maybe, if that long. And he goes, hey, I got a story for you. They said, what? And he said, my parents bought your house. I said, what house? And he told me, and I went, oh my God. Hi. And he's a good friend of Carrie's and mine. And so it was like a whole, like, whoa. And I said, what room did you stay in? And he told me, he said, that was Carrie's room.
Oh, amazing. And you probably, I imagine you have photos that you could probably send him and show. Oh, that's incredible.
In fact, the house that we moved to, you could see our old house from my dad's bathroom window. If the trees weren't too tall.
Alpine.
Yes.
You went up the hill and looked.
Literally moved a block away.
Is that house still there? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
That house.
But they bought the house in front of it, the Lansings. They bought the Lansing house, tore it down, and there's like a little putting thing. My dad would have loved that. It's a whole putting range. It's huge.
Amazing.
And I have home videos of that house being built. And one of these days, I'm going to just get a drive and give it to them so that they can see what it looked like in the 70s.
You have video of it being built? Oh my God. You were like just speaking. This is like porn for me. You have no idea.
My brother had a bunch of my dad's home movies on 3/4-inch tape. And so we digitized them at one of my old jobs because that was one of the things they did. And so I've got all these old movies. And slides and stuff that my brother had. He goes, do you want these? And I'm like, absolutely. Gary Moore show stuff. All sorts of stuff. And even some of the home movies have, who Paul Anderson is, the director?
Of course, yeah.
So his family was friends with our family.
Okay.
And very good friends. And we used to really give Paul a lot of shit. And I wish I hadn't because he'd be hiring me now. He has forgiven me to some degree. But no, I put a bunch of, because there's some home movies with Paul in it. And Paul loved my dad, like, a lot. And so I put them all together on a drive, and I sent them, and I get an email from Maya, his girlfriend. She goes, "This explains so much."
Well, that's a really good segue. Going back to your mom's birthday party for a second, as I was leaving, I hear, "Justin!" And I turn and it was your Aunt Chrissy. She was asking me to take a picture of her and Maya Rudolph. She was fanning out, and I did. And Maya said, I charge $6. And I said, well, I charge $7. She laughed. But your aunt was so excited to take a picture, and I took it. She handed me her phone, and I took it. And I just thought, how cool. She's been in this industry for so long, and still gets excited enough to want to take a picture with Maya Rudolph.
Well, Maya I told this story to my boss last week. When my mom got the Mark Twain Prize, we were out in D.C. and we'd gotten there the couple nights before the first event, because there were two. And I'm in the elevator going down to go walk around the city. And as the doors open, Amy Poehler walks past me. And there's Maya, and she just had her fourth child. And she goes, "Jody, you're here." And I said, "Hi, honey." She goes, "I just had a baby." And I said, "I heard." And she goes, "I don't know what to name it." I said, "Jody's good." And she laughed. The new one it's a boy. He's like this big now. But so I said, she goes, "I'm so glad you're here." I said, "Is Paul with you?" She goes, "No, he's with the kids." And I went, "Okay." I said, "I'll see you tonight." She goes, "I'm just so glad," right? So then the night of the event, I love Maya so much. I took a friend of mine with me. And so Tia and I are there, and we're walking into the party after the show. We're just kind of standing, have a glass of wine or whatever, and I'm just standing there, and Maya comes up to me, and she goes, "Jody, I'm bringing you some friends." And who does she bring? Amy Poehler, Rashida Jones. And I'm like, "Hi." She goes, "This is Jody. She's Carol's daughter. She's fantastic." And they're like, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you." I'm like, "You guys are famous and very funny. Why am I the one that you're all gathering around?" It's like, it was the cute. It's so, and all these women are lovely women, but it was so sweet that Maya brought them to me.
I love that. They should. I was just as excited to meet you. I mean, you're. I didn't make this like story location tour documentary for any other reason other than to get I wanted a place to have your family, your mom's story, your mom's legacy somewhere, because I thought, hello, Netflix, HBO, where are these documentaries? There should be one by now. There should be a huge documentary on her. And I thought, well, fine, I'll make one, whether or not anyone sees it or whatever, I'll put it out there, because, you're all just trailblazers too. Carrie was the first Maureen in Rent. Mm-hmm. Your mom was on the pilot of Sesame Street. I mean, you can just go down all these lists. You produced, Showstoppers is one of the most amazing things. That introduced an entire generation of people to her, That's all we can do when we put these things out there, is hopefully get younger people interested.
Yeah, Showstoppers was fun. We were doing this other thing Mom hired me to do for Columbia House. They were releasing videos. And my sister Carrie and I had just done some films. And so she's like, "Do you want to produce that?" And so I said to her, "Sure, but I produce on film. So I need my brother to help me do what's right, because you're going to want to do it at 33. You're going to want to do it, a certain way. And he's produced this sort of thing before." So I hired my brother to produce that. And while we were doing that, it was a 2-day shoot. And we hired Carrie just to be a PA. She was a very well-paid PA. And so we shot that stuff. It took a couple of days. And then while we were doing it, brother John came up with the idea of Showstoppers. And boom. And then he hired me on that shoot.
Wow, full circle.
Mm-hmm. The nepotism was there, but it wasn't my mother. I'm a Nepo baby.
Proudly own it. You know how many people are Nepo babies?
Well, it's funny. Rachel Pollack, who we went to school, she was Aaron's best friend when we were little. She's Sydney Pollack.
I was going to say, that's the only Pollack I know.
Yeah, she's Sydney Pollack's daughter. And for years, we were all like, you don't use your parents' name because they came from nothing. So don't use their name if you can avoid it. Now, having the last name Hamilton, as an actor, nobody's going to expect my mom.
Yeah. Didn't Aaron Burr kill your dad? Yeah,
Exactly. Things like that. So we were taught that coming of age. So the kids nowadays that are definitely cashing in on those last names. I saw Rachel a few years back. She goes, "We should have done that." I said, "No kidding." What were we thinking? But we were all taught that. The DeLuise children were taught that. All these kids that grew up from parents who came from nothing. We're all taught, you do it on your own. We will not dissuade you. We'll help you if we can, but we're not going to necessarily open a door for you unless you can walk through it. So, I've had help, obviously. I didn't have to pay for college or anything. Obviously I've had a lot of help. But if I wanted to be an actor, it's on me to get an agent. It's on me to do that,
Absolutely. And I think, sometimes nepotism might get you in the door, but it's talent that is going to keep you inside.
Exactly.
You've been very open about, growing up at stage 33 at CBS Television.
I'm as old as the show.
That's right, yeah. It debuted the year that you were born.
It debuted on Harry Connick Jr.'s actual birthday.
Amazing. What's that connection there?
I think she was a fan.
That's right.
And, it's like her and Randy Rainbow and her and you. It's just, I introduced her to Randy. So.
Amazing.
He was like you were. He's like, "You're not."
Was it exciting at all, like running around that studio, or was that just, this is where mom and dad work?
The older, because I was 11 when it went off the air, so I was still a little kid. But we went every Friday, pretty much every Friday after school. So I think I started going when season 4, probably.
And just like running around free, like.
Well, we'd sit in our seats like good little children during the dress that they would tape in front of an audience, and then we would go back to say goodbye to mom. And if there were any guests that mom wanted us to meet, we would meet them. And Ray Charles, of course.
That story.
I remember it. I dressed up. He was blind. I wasn't in my school uniform. I was in a whole little outfit with my Mary Janes and everything. And I think I had a bow in my hair. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, meeting him was a big deal for me. I burst into tears. I was so excited to meet him. I loved him.
Yeah.
He's my first husband.
I'm going to tell you how much of a nerd I am here. You know who I would have died to have met? Karen Carpenter. Did you ever meet Carpenter?
We met them both. We have pictures. I have a picture with them.
Okay, you'll text that later too. You met them.
Met the Jackson 5.
I know that.
Sammy Davis a few times. Cher, obviously.
Did you sneak into her dressing room?
Cher's? Well, they were just down the hall.
I know, that's what I mean.
And Chastity and Aaron were friendly for a while. Chaz now.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw Chaz was at an event, and he was smoking, and I was smoking at the time. And I'm like, hi, I met you years ago. I'm Jody Hamilton. I'm Carolyn. She said, hi, it's nice to see you again. I said, you're famous. Can I stand next to you and smoke? And he was like, yeah, sure. I don't care.
Wow,
What do I care?
I love it. I asked her, I said this to your mom when I interviewed her. I was like, there's only one thing I want to thumb through more than anything in this world, and it's the guest books from the show.
She has them.
I know. She was like, I think they're in an attic. So I was like, they need to be in a glass case with red laser beams on it, spotlights. I just, have you ever just like thumbed through them?
No, but
really?
when we lived on Maui, my parents had a place on Maui, and we had like a downstairs, mainly for guests. And when people would stay, they would sign the wall, including high school friends.
Yeah.
And people would draw, and Burt Reynolds signed the wall, Johnny Carson signed the wall. It was a who's who of people that would be visiting Maui. And she'd go, no, you gotta sign the wall. And when they sold the place, they painted over the wall. And it's like, no, you take the drywall out and you put it somewhere. Take it out in chunks and put it somewhere.
I would have made sure that happened.
It was just like he painted it over the wall.
Well, at least we have at least the books are still.
The books are there, and we have our Aloha albums, which I'm sure there are pictures of the wall.
Amazing. Watching old reruns, it's the funniest thing to me because there were so many young boys in the studio audience who were like kind of fawning over your mom. Like they had these crushes, and these boys would be like, was that like weird as a young girl to be like, have these boys having a crush on your mom, these teenagers that didn't like mess with you at school or anything?
No, I mean, one of my favorites is the kid going, "Did you ever get made fun of with your red hair?" And she, "No, I didn't have red hair." No, and that didn't bother. It was just she was very nice to them and very sweet. In fact, when we were watching Palm Royale the other night, and have you seen the latest one yet?
I'm one behind.
Okay, well, there's an actor a guest actor on the show, and I shot up and I went, "Lonnie, that's Paul Sand," and he goes,
No,
and he goes, "Paul Sand," and I'm like, "Okay, when we're done watching this, we're gonna watch some Paul Sand sketches." And so Lonnie, I was going to bed because it was like 5:00 in the afternoon because I go to bed at 5 and I get up at 1. And as I was leaving, he kept watching more and more sketches of Paul Sand on my mom's show. I'm like, Lonnie made a very good point. He goes, "He reminds me of Martin Short." I said, "You know what?
Interesting.
If you look at the old sketches, there's a lot of, I can see Martin Short maybe studying him."
You saw my face when you said Paul Sand's name. One of those people we won't see the likes of again because I love that his comedy was just, it wasn't joke.
Mm-hmm.
I said that about your mom's sketches. They weren't just joke. It was, you allow these like characters to build, and you'd allow these moments to happen before the joke. He's such an underrated gem. I can't believe he's on Palm Royale.
He was, and I texted my mom because she had just finished with Jimmy Kimmel, so it was Wednesday night, and I said, I shot up and I said, "Paul Sand." I said, "How was the reunion?" She goes, "It was really lovely to see him."
That is so heartwarming. I love that. That's amazing. It's a loaded question. But do you have a favorite guest star? I know, right?
Other than Uncle Jim?
Yeah.
And Ray Charles? Well, Conway was a guest star for the first
That's true.
9 years.
That's true. I think a lot of people forget that.
He wasn't a regular until season 9.
How about a favorite sketch?
Also, I mean, obviously, in fact, I was listening to a podcast this morning called #Sisters-in-Law with Jill Wine-Banks, Barb McQuaid, Kimberly Atkins-Storr, and Joyce Vance. And the first out of the gate thing they were talking about, because they just won a Webby, so congratulations to them. And I don't know, but I've booked Barb, Joyce, and Jill on the radio show that I produce. But Barb, they won this Webby, so they're going to go to the ceremony in New York. And so they're going around talking about what they're going to wear. And Barb McQuaid goes, "Do you guys remember that Gone with the Wind sketch that Carol Burnett did?" And they're all, "Yeah, of course we do. I'd like to come in with the curtain rod dress." And so I emailed Barbara when I got home from my walk. And I said, "Dear Barb, I heard you mention my mom on your show today. I don't know if you knew that was my mom." I said, we'd love to loan you the dress, but it's at the Smithsonian, so sorry."
I love too when I was talking with your mom, she said that Gone with the Wind was ruined. You told her that Gone with the Wind was ruined. There was a screening when you were at school.
No, it wasn't at school. It was here. It was here in LA. I just moved back. I went with my friend Amanda, and Matthew Lillard was there. It was before he worked with my mother. And so we're watching this movie, intermission, and then after intermission is where that starts. And she walks into the stable in the dress, and people just start laughing. And I look at Amanda, and she looks at me. I said, "She's ruined this film. She has just ruined this movie." And as soon as she puts on that outfit, which is gorgeous, but as soon as she puts it on, people just started giggling. Because that's all they could picture was the Mackie version of that, which I did try on.
You did?
When we were shooting the Columbia House things, we brought bunches of costumes, so they were at my house first. I was the one that was in charge of them, and I did try out. Because it's really just over the dress. But Mom was about this big.
Still is.
Still is. It was a teeny little dress.
I trust you have pictures of yourself in that too.
No.
Not allowed.
But I was like, I have to try that on.
Well, that's funny because, I was just going to ask you, Carrie went the route of acting.
Yes.
And
directing.
And Erin acted a little bit when she was younger and sings. Mm-hmm. You kind of went the producer route. Was there ever any desire to be on stage, on screen, acting, singing, any of the in front of the camera performing, or were you always?
I was always more that, but behind the scenes person. I did in college. I had to take, because I was a music management major. Actually, it was entertainment management. I couldn't get into the music school. I wasn't all good But I did have to take music. And so I took vocal lessons. Because I was like, I don't have a piano, I don't play the guitar, but I did have to take 1 semester of voice lessons. So I did do that, and then we had to perform in front of people. And I don't know if my mom still has the tape recording of it. But my vocal teacher wanted us to do West Side Story. And I was a soprano, so I was Maria. And the guy, God bless him, who played Tony, when he wouldn't wear his glasses, he had one lazy eye. Mm-hmm. And so we did a recital. It was just the songs. We didn't do the show. It was just the songs. And I remember when we were in rehearsal, every time I would sing I Feel Pretty, I would look at my voice teacher going, I don't feel pretty and I'm not singing the song well. And I talked him out of making me do it. I said, I really don't want to do this. He goes, it's your only solo. I said, most of the duets are solos and they just come together at the end of the song, man. And he's like, all right, yeah, it is the one song you're not doing well, so I didn't have to do I Feel Pretty. Thank God.
You're like the opposite of any other actor out there. I want more solos. Make the duets a solo. No, the opposites. You knew you were. And
then my acting teacher, who ended up teaching at UCLA, he thought I was good. I mean, I did a scene from Same Time Next Year with a friend of mine.
Oh.
And I did okay in that class. And when my mom met him at UCLA, I said, hey, look, I taught your daughter at UOP. And she said, really? He goes, yeah, she was very good. I'm surprised she didn't go on with that. And I'm like, well, that's very sweet of him.
Aww.
He gave me an A, but it was very sweet of him.
Well, I want to pick your brain as a producer because you're looking at the producer of this show, you're looking at the craft service of the show, you're looking at everything.
I know what that's like.
Well, oh my gosh. I mean, if you had the unfortunate task of waking up tomorrow and you found out that you were now the producer of the Justin Root Show, and you had to get this show going, what are your tips?
There are different ways of doing it. Like right now, my title is executive producer of the Stephanie Miller Show.
Yeah.
But I don't have executive producer jobs.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so an EP of, say, a television show,
yeah.
They're in charge of the budget.
Okay.
Hiring. A lot of showrunners are also writers, but not all of them. They're in charge of everything. They hire the producers below them. They hire the director. The director will say, I like this DP, I like that. Directors usually control what crew they want, unless you're at a union shop, and then there's no control. You're at the mercy of the union shop, which is also good because they're very good at their jobs. But yeah, I mean, when we produced Defying the Stars, the first film that I did with my sister, there were 2 other producers that were supposed to help produce the movie, but then they got real jobs. So it just became my job. One was going to do pre-production, one was going to do production, and one was going to do post.
Okay.
But yeah, and so I ended up having to produce this movie, and I had never produced a movie in my life. And so I'm like, okay, so the DP that we had worked with before, he helped me get the crew together, which was very nice of him to do. And so that helped a lot. And so then I'm starting to get phone calls from my first AC going, hey, I need this from the grip, and start getting the lists of things that you need from your expendables, from your, and what grip company were we going to hire, and, how much are we going to take off the truck? Are we getting the expendables there? Are we getting, because every movie is different than the next one. And if a television series, you've got everybody hired, and, it's a well-run machine after a while. But yeah, I mean, the EP is in charge of everything. And even in someone in filmmaking, but it's usually the producer that's really, the EPs are usually the money people for movies, whereas executive producers for television actually are involved on a day-to-day basis, like my dad was.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're in charge of the whole thing. I mean, it's theirs. It's their show. That's why they get the Emmy. So it's to produce. I mean, I'm looking at this. This is like way fancier than my show ever was. So
it's just getting people to come over to a stranger's house is impossible. That's the thing. And I think and I'm totally using the Carol Burnett card now.
Absolutely.
Got her, then I can get you. There's no one, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not joking when I say there's nobody. There's no one higher. For me, there's no one. I peaked. that's the fun thing about it. Is like I have completely peaked. So now it's just like, let's have fun. Let's just go and enjoy this and have a blast because it will never get better. And I'm okay with that. Like, it's like 20,000 pounds off my shoulder, you know?
Well, I mean, as far as like producing this show, this setup is great.
Thank you.
And you know, as far as crafts, depending on who you have coming over,
Yeah.
but getting in touch with people, that's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
So I highly recommend becoming, if you're not already an IMDb Pro member.
I just did a month ago.
Do that because then you get everybody's contact information.
And I'm reaching out.
So then you can start reaching out through their agents at least. And some will get back to you, some won't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met when my husband and I were trying to sell a cartoon of several years ago. I got in touch with Seth Green's manager. And she got back to me in like an hour. And she said, let me get back to you. Let me look at his thing right now. Because he's, you know, does Family Guy. He's a very busy man.
Yeah.
And Robot Chicken, I mean, he's very, very busy. But he would have been perfect for this one voice. And, but she got back to me. She says, you know what? Seth cannot do it, but please keep him in mind for other things. Like, how nice is that?
That's so nice to even just hear a, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and I have her information still, and I think they still are together. And, you know, I met publicists that are like that too. But yeah, that's my thing. When I was, before they called them podcasts, I worked for Tim Conway Jr.'s podcast in 1996. It was that long ago, where it was literally, and they had video and they were refreshing it every 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. It really was.
Oh.
And his producer was leaving, and so he hired me to come in and just talent book, basically. And so I got Graham Nash on, I got my mom on, I got the guy that wrote Orson Scott Card, I got him on, he wrote Ender's Game. I got a few people, and then the show, they didn't have the money anymore, but I got some decent bookings. And it was basically, back in those days, it was faxing people.
Oh my gosh.
Faxing AFTRA. Or faxing AFTRA with the list of names, can I get the contacts for this?
Wow.
AFTRA or SAG, I would fax before they were with the same union. If it was a film person, I would just fax them and go, can you get me the contact information for this person? They'll do that too. SAG and AFTRA will do that for you.
Oh, that's nice. I've been very open and honest with people on this podcast so far that I'm kind of winging it, you know, and that I'm doing it myself and all that kind of stuff. And
I did my podcast for almost 15 years, and it was just me producing it.
This is from the bunker you're talking about.
Yes,
right?
it first was called Ham and Leg Show.
Ham and Leg
when
Show.
it was just Sean and me.
Okay.
Because I'm Ham and he's Legs. And then Lonnie did a great cartoon of us. It was very funny. And then when Sean left, we always said that we were in a bunker. Whenever we would talk about anything, it'd be like, watch out, you know, the feds are coming, but we're in a bunker.
Yeah.
So then we decided to call it From the Bunker after that. And whenever Sean would come on, I'd do a whole different theme song. I'd change it back to the Ham and Leg Show and then back to From the Bunker. But it ended up just being From the Bunker. Yeah, we started in 2009 and quit last year.
Why?
A new job.
Okay, so okay.
There's no way I could do an hour-long podcast plus produce 15 hours a week of radio and television. So
Yeah, and so now tell everyone what you are doing right now, because you.
Well, I'm the producer of the Stephanie Miller Show, which is on radio and Sirius XM and Free Speech TV.
Big show.
And be careful what you wish for, because I've wanted this job for 10 years. So what I do is I gather news stories for her and grab sound bites from what's going on in the news every day. And so I get up and I'm at work between 4 and 4:30, which is not far from here, by the way.
Oh, really?
And we're live from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday.
And this show it's how would you describe it? I know it's political and pop culture. I mean, did I just
and fart
describe
jokes.
it? Okay, fart.
Lots of fart jokes. Oh my God, her whole thing with Pecker last week. Don't even get her started on that.
Amazing.
Oh, and Trump falling asleep and then apparently farting whilst in court. So
I was gonna say farting and Trump and politics, it just goes hand in hand. Isn't that weird how that just kind of... needless to say, we're on the exact same page.
Yeah, most sane people are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tiring.
I was going to say.
Because my first day of work is technically Sundays. So I finish work at like 9:15 on Fridays. I can kind of but I'll start working Friday afternoon. And so on Saturdays too, to just kind of make my Sunday a little bit easier. So I have kind of 2.5 days of producing one day. And right now, as of right now, she's in Philadelphia with the Sexy Liberal Save the World tour. And so Monday I'm hosting for her and producing Tuesday's show while I'm hosting, which is fun. Like I said, I used to walk 10 miles a day, and that takes about 3 hours. And when I get home at 9:15, I don't get out the door until 10. That means 1 o'clock. I want to be done with work by 2:30, because I go to bed at 4:35. And so getting up at 1 o'clock now and get on my stationary bike and bike 3 or 4 miles and go to work first, see if there's anything I need to worry about, print some more stories for her, get more sound bites if I need to. And then by 2 a.m., I'm on the stationary bike for 5 or 6 miles. Then I get off the bike, play Wordle, and connections and square word and click word to brain fart, and then send my mom the fact that I'm terrible at Wordle, because she gets it in like 1 all the time. She's a wizard. That one. So yeah, I'm playing Wordle with my mother. And she got it in 2 today.
Are you kidding?
I'll show you all the Wordles she sent me.
I've never played it.
It's a weird game.
I have never.
It's a guessing game.
Is it easy?
No. Yes.
Yes.
My first word used to be quest.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna start.
But anyway, so, and then by 3:30, I'll get back on the bike for a little bit, and then leave the house a little bit before 4.
Stop. You are a rock star. Speaking of, did you ever try to be? Did you ever go into the music? Aside, I know you the school, but like, did you think, screw school, I'm gonna start a band, or I'm gonna?
There was, I did though several years ago. My sister's Carrie had a band called Guild Lily.
Yeah.
And so her guitar player called me up. He goes, I have a Guild Lily song in my head that's new, and I want to do that. He goes, will you sing it, and will you help me? And I said, well, I don't write, but I have Carrie's old lyric book. And I said, so it'll be her lyrics. So I found a song, and Lauren's chorus was really happy clappy, and Carrie's songs were kind of not. And so it was really hard to kind of put this one poem that she never really finished. And so we all got together at my house, her bass player, and 2 guitar players, and I got together, and we wrote this song called Mystery Connection, and shot a video. I've never had a band be so easy to work with on a music video in my life. I did 1 take, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, Lonnie went, wait, what, that's a band? What, you mean so-and-so doesn't want more guitar solo shots? And I'm like, because I was very good about making sure everybody got their own things, but I was shocked that they weren't like, well, can you do this or that? I was like, great. It literally took me 2 hours to edit. It was fantastic.
Wow.
But we shot the video, we put it out there, and every dime that we made is going to the Jody Hamilton Foundation.
Oh, love that.
Which we haven't made a lot of money off of it, but every dime goes to that. And then we had a charity event at Molly Malone's on Carrie and my brother John's birthday. And instead of doing it on the anniversary of her death, we decided to do it on her birthday.
Love that.
And we had the whole place to ourselves. Rolanda Watts was our MC, bless her. And because she was in Defining Stars.
Yeah.
And so I sang, and we just did a set of Guild Lily. It was fun.
That's so sweet.
I wasn't as nervous as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
I think she was helping me. But it was a packed house. It was like, it was really nice. And we made $1,500, and I gave it to the foundation. So
speaking of packed houses, the last time I actually saw you was at the screening of the re-release of Tokyo Pop. And I had never seen it on the big screen before. And what an electrifying performance. I mean, talk about lighting up the screen. Oh my gosh. And just a delight. What an honor that was to.
It was lovely to see Yutaka. I hadn't seen him in person since I lived with Carrie. She was out of town shooting. It was like 1991. And she calls and she says, Yutaka Tadakura's going to be in town. He wants to borrow my Bob Mackie jacket. I'm like, okay. So I gave him directions to the house, and I said, all right. And so bing bong, and there he is. And he speaks much better English now than he did then. But I said, hi, I'm Jody. He goes, Yutaka. I said, hi. He goes, hi. I said, do you need the jacket? He goes, uh-huh, right? And so, we didn't have a long call because I don't speak any Japanese. And so I took him to her closet. He grabbed a couple of jackets, and, He gave him back, a few days later. But when I saw him at the theater, I hadn't seen him since then. And so I walked up to him and I said, Utaka, it's Jody, Carrie's sister. He goes, hi, and gave me a big hug. And it was just really, he'd never met my mom, so he got to meet my mom. But it was really nice, him performing that song. I know that song, even though it's in Japanese mainly. I love that song. And for him to do it live too was just really lovely. It was nice.
That's a special night. That was wonderful.
It really was.
Did you like going to the sets of either of your mom's movies or Carrie? Did you like being part of it, or was it more of a let's see it when it's done?
When Mom did 4 seasons, we were in Vermont for those scenes. And I have Bess Armstrong's phone number now.
You do? Well, if you ever think she needs to go on our show and talk, well, you get her on yours first.
She might go to the Sexy Rebel show here in LA.
Oh, nice.
Because she loves Stephanie, so I'm like, okay.
Wait, I made your mom talk about Sandy Dennis. Did you ever meet her?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have such a weird, I love her. I think she's such a unique,
she's lovely,
kooky actress. She was great. Yeah, your mom told me she gave her a cat that was pregnant. Your mom was howling when she told the story. I absolutely loved it. Love the 4 seasons. Wait, what do you think about Tina Fey and Steve Carell?
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I want some more movies like that, or even shows where, I'm so sick of movies today that they have to have a message or a plight. Just bring back good movies, fun movies about human beings, friendships, relationships. I miss those movies.
We got to go to the set for a wedding. And that was a great set. All the kids, because there were so many kids in that movie, and then we were there, and that house was insane for kids. The kids weren't working, we were all just playing. And the grotto where they had the bar, we would just play in there constantly because it was way down, and it was a beautiful home in Lake Bluff, Illinois. And that was a fun summer.
I told your mom this. I don't even know if you know this. Do you know who bought that house?
Mm-mm.
Richard Marx and his wife, Cynthia Rhodes, who was in Dirty Dancing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
They bought it right after. When I told your mom that, she said they need air conditioning.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, he doesn't live there anymore, but Richard Marx moved into that house. Isn't that weird?
I
love like weird celebrity pop culture collections.
I love him.
Connections like that. Yeah. It's amazing. Oh wow, you had to go to Robert Altman. I mean, one of the best. I honestly put him up. It's Paul Thomas Anderson and Robert Altman for me.
I ran into Mr. Altman in Texas for my Uncle Jim's 70th birthday. Yeah, Lonnie wasn't with me for his 70th birthday. I was staying at this hotel, and Mr. Altman was shooting something in Texas near that hotel, obviously. And I walked up to him and said, I don't know if you remember me. And I introduced myself, and he said, no, I do. I said, do you know who Paul Anderson is? And he said, yes, I do. And I said, what do you think of him? He goes, I think he's very good. I said, he reminds me of you. And he goes, yeah. And then Paul helped him on his last film. Yeah. And I know that's why, because he was like, no, he'll know what I want to do. If I can't do it, he'll do it the way I want to do it.
You made that happen.
I don't know if I made it happen.
No, you did. I told you, your family, you're trailblazers. All of you. I told you.
I just told him that I thought Paul was a lot like him.
I told you. Do you want people to find you on social media? I'm
at From the Bunker JR
okay.
on the Twitter, and I believe that's also on my Instagram, but it's just kitty pictures on my Instagram and a picture of you and me.
I am honored.
But it's mainly just kitty pictures.
Well,
you know who just followed me?
Oh God, who?
Mark Hamill.
Come on.
Isn't that the coolest in the whole wide world?
Does he know that? Well, obviously,
he
you have half the last name.
Well, he listens to Stephanie's show, but remember when it was pissing rain a few months ago?
Yeah.
And I kept getting these alerts on my phone, and Lonnie was out of town. He was visiting his dad. Kept in the middle of the night. Right? So I'm like, I'm going to die. Just power stay on so that the sump pump works out back because I don't want to drown. And I literally tweeted something like that. And Mark Hamill goes, I don't want to like this, but please stay dry, Jody.
Oh my gosh.
And like my little 9-year-old self was like,
amazing.
That's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Amazing.
I mean, I get giddy. I get weird around politicos more so.
Really? I was going to ask you, do you still get starstruck? And we live in a town where, I don't know about you, but I have like the same 3 celebrities. I see over and over. It's
One of your neighbors. I mean, it'd be easy for him to come over.
Bob, do you know Bob?
I have not met him, no.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I went up to Bob Odenkirk.
You did good.
3 days ago.
Awesome.
And I said, Mr. Odenkirk, I have lived in this neighborhood with you for 10 years. I've never bothered you, but we have a mutual friend in common who said I could say hi. And he said who? And I said, Carol Burnett. I'm not kidding. He stopped. Are you kidding? I said she was just on my show. I swear. And I also, he's actually directing a friend of mine in the Groundlings right now. So I mentioned him too. And so he knew. He was like, okay, this isn't some weird, crazy person. He gave me the name of his person to send my calendar to. And he said, send me the link to Carol's interview. I'll listen to it and maybe we can make it happen. I was like,
awesome. That'd be cool.
Well, you are someone I literally could talk to for 17 more hours, but you gotta go to bed. So we have reached the end of my show. I end my show with the easiest thing in the world. Don't overthink this. It's just either or. Melrose Place or 90210?
Melrose Place.
Hawaii sunsets or Hawaii sunrise?
Sunrise.
Bette Midler or Barbara Streisand?
Bette.
Chinese food or Mexican food?
Mexican.
Vegas or Miami?
Vegas.
Crushed ice or ice cubes?
Cubes.
Madonna pop songs or Madonna ballads?
Pop songs.
Santa Monica or Malibu?
Malibu.
A hard one. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Ice.
Me too, all the time. Jen Kirkman hates iced coffee. Hates it.
That's the only thing wrong with her.
The only thing we fight about. And, okay, this is, it says here Julie Andrews, but it should say Aunt Julie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Julie in Mary Poppins or Aunt Julie in Sound of Music? That's hard.
Sound of Music.
Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Probably milk chocolate. I eat that more.
Okay. Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie?
Bewitched.
Psychedelic Furs or Depeche Mode?
Furs.
Meryl Streep comedy, Meryl Streep dramas?
Yes.
Exactly. I'm letting that go. Mrs. Wiggins or the Charwoman?
Wiggins.
Paintings or photographs?
Painting.
Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy?
Jeopardy.
Ice cream in a cone or ice cream in a bowl?
Cone.
Oh, see, this is hard. And if someone asks me this, I leave. Carole King or Carly Simon?
Carly Simon.
I'm glad that was hard for you because that's hard for me too.
It's hard.
Volleyball or soccer?
Volleyball.
Jan Brady or Marsha Brady?
I know Marsha, so that's hard. But I am a Jan.
Oh, this is hard, and no, my producer put this. I would never. Harvey Korman or Tim Conway?
Oh, that's no. Who is?
No,
He's fired.
You're fired.
He is so fired, that guy.
God, massages or facials?
Massage.
Okay, clean shaven or scruffy? Not for you, for men.
Clean.
Shares music or shares movies? Right? Another awful one.
Shares musicals.
Done. Griffith Park or Central Park?
Ooh, it's just in New York. I'm going Central Park.
Okay. And last but not least, Stevie Nicks or Stevie Wonder?
Stevie Wonder.
Okay, interesting. All
I'm a
right.
huge Stevie Wonder fan.
All right, that's because you're straight. I'm gay, Stevie Nicks. But I cannot thank you enough for coming on here. I cannot thank you enough for just being as wonderful as you are. Tell that mother of yours hello.
I will.
And in the vein of the Carol Burnett Show, I have decided to start having my guests sign the guest book at the end of the show.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have like fake credits rolling and music.
Oh, I love it.
Well, it's my favorite part of like on the Rosie O'Donnell show,
Mhm.
like it would go to the music
Mhm.
and then you had no idea what they were saying. So like right now there's music playing and people are like, what are they talking about? So it's like that. So take your time. There's no rush. It's edited.
I hope you can read that.
Oh, I love it. When I talked to your mom about her book, she's like, you would want to read what Martha Ray wrote. That's so sweet. You could have taken up the whole page. So I love that you just did like a little thing. And I have a little gift for you for coming over.
Oh, honey, you didn't have to do
Well,
that.
I wanted to. I had this made for you because I'm going to have these made for everyone who comes on. But do you know what a Funko Pop is?
No.
Well, you are a Funko
You did
Pop.
not!
You're
Oh my god!
You're a Funko Pop now.
That is the coolest thing!
And I even put there's two cats.
Oh
Do you see them?
my god! I do!
Oh no!
Oh my god,
Wow,
thank you!
you're so welcome!
That is the coolest thing! Oh my god!
Yeah, so...
Oh my god!
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
That is so cool!
I love it. I love it.
That is the coolest thing in the whole wide world.
Well, I'm so happy.
Oh my god, that is so cool! Oh my god! Ryan's gonna be so jealous.
Oh my gosh. Well,
He's gonna be so jealous.
that is so fun. Well, again, I thank you so much, Jody. You're just the best.
Oh, you're so sweet.